Hey everyone, my name is Maynard Okereke, better known as the Hip Hop MD. I created my platform Hip Hop Science to encourage more minority and youth involvement in STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, and help bridge the gap between music, entertainment, and science. And I want to motivate all of you out there to stay curious and learn about all of the amazing opportunities the STEM fields have to offer, which is why I'm excited to join the NSU Alvin Sherman Library to present a virtual StoryFest STEAM special. Science and nature. Check it out.
What lies patient day and night, eyeballs positioned for the perfect strike, equipped with a grip like a locking vice. Blessings on blessings if you feel its bite. Ooh, forget the fact that I just dropped bars. There's just one species that embodies all these elements, and this species can be found in your very own backyard. Blessings can come in many shapes and forms, and often start off with just a simple prayer. But this insect species takes praying to a whole new level. This infamous member of the Dictyoptera superorder of insects is known as the praying mantis. Mantises are literally in an order of their own, but are actually most closely related to cockroaches and termites. Over 2,400 species of mantis exist all across the globe, with 4 being unique to California specifically. These include the native California mantis, along with 3 non-native species, the European, Mediterranean, and Chinese mantises. Praying mantises are unique in a number of different ways. They have no larval stage, but instead go straight from egg to small nymph to an adult. They can vary in color, with some being bright green like this specimen, and others being more yellowish to brown like this specimen here. This coloration helps them blend in with their environment, making it easier to fulfill their title of ambush predator. Perfectly designed for hunting, praying mantises are considered the most voracious predator in the insect world. Using their clawed front limbs, they can stealthily catch flying insects, arachnids, and any other prey capable of fitting inside their jaws. Some larger species have even been observed to eat small lizards, amphibians, and even hummingbirds. They're capable of rotating their heads 180 degrees to what's likely their most incredible feature: stereo vision. And not to be confused with an old school boombox or stereo system in your car. Stereo vision is the ability to use independent eyes to record different views that are then accurately merged together in the brain to produce a single image. Humans and most other mammals have this capability. However, mantises are the only insects with this optic ability. They can even take it a step further than humans, neurologically being able to focus their independent eyes on just the portion that's moving, allowing them to catch prey in midair, like Mr. Miyagi. Praying mantises are incredibly important to a backyard ecosystem. They can help eliminate pests that can damage gardens and plants. However, they're completely unbiased hunters and will also feast on important pollinators such as butterflies and bees. And if you ever do happen to catch multiple praying mantises, always make sure to keep males and females separate. Female mantises are known to eat their male counterparts after and sometimes even during sex, making for quite an awkward backyard science observation. I'm the Hip Hop MD. This is Hip Hop Science, reminding you that curiosity is nature's PhD. Never stop asking. Everybody needs a place to call home, whether you're Drake,
Just hold on, we're going home.
or even MGK.
I'm trying to find home.
But regardless of where you call home, the most important thing is to identify what actually makes a home a home. When we think of an ecosystem, the easiest way to describe it is to break it into 2 parts. You have the eco, or the ecology, which is the area of biology dealing with the interactions of organisms in their environment, and the system, which is the assemblance of parts and pieces. Ecosystems include a number of different environments, such as oceans, rivers, swamps, and other habitats. Today, we're taking a closer look at an ecosystem that can exist almost anywhere in the world, and anywhere may just include your own backyard. Streams are freshwater ecosystems, which when compared to our oceans, make up a rather small percentage of the water on Earth. They come from a number of different sources, including lakes, rivers, or runoffs from mountains. Streams are generally classified as small channels of water flowing in a particular direction. They can be naturally made by nature itself, or even in some cases, man-made. You have perennial streams, which typically flow year-round, seasonal streams, which typically flow under rainy conditions or from snow and ice melting, as well as streams that are continuous or interrupted by debris. As with all ecosystems, streams are made up of two elements, biotic factors and abiotic factors. Biotic factors are all the living things that exist in an ecosystem and include plants, trees, insects, and other wildlife. Invertebrates such as insects and worms play a critical role in stream ecosystems. Along with algae, they can be eaten by frogs and fish, which are in turn eaten by predators such as birds and snakes, which in turn die and provide nutrients for trees and other plant life, all coming together to form the perfect circle of life. Algae is pretty easy to identify in a stream ecosystem. Various types of algae exist, including microscopic algae, known as phytoplankton, and more visible algae buildup, which can be seen on trees, rocks, or the water surface. Algae growth occurs just like other plant life, through the process of photosynthesis, converting sunlight into energy. These growths serve as the base foundation of the overall complex food chain. Alright, I'm gonna show you guys something absolutely amazing. I got my gloves on. I always like to wear gloves when I'm dealing with animals in the wild. One, because your skin has oils on them, so especially for creatures like amphibians, you could actually do harm to them from the chemicals on your hands. And then two, you never know what you're dealing with, so you always want to make sure you're safe. But check this out. Here, we have a species of frog. Oh! He's jumping. These are one of the most amazing things that you can discover in a freshwater ecosystem. They are amazingly vital to a freshwater ecosystem. One, because they eat invertebrates like insects themselves, and also they are in turn eaten by predators such as birds and snakes, so they're very vital to the whole circle of life. These guys start off their lives as tadpoles in the water and then make their way out to land. And these are absolutely amazing. Not exactly sure what species this is. I'll need a guidebook to really be able to specifically identify this. This is where your iNaturalist app comes into hand. Look at this guy. Absolutely beautiful. How amazing is this? We are talking about biotic factors in freshwater ecosystems like streams, and look what I just came across. How incredible is that? We have a snake that just caught a fish and is attempting to devour it on the side of the stream. This is absolutely incredible. I have yet to see any fish during my exploration here on this freshwater ecosystem, and the very first fish I see is in the mouth of a snake. This is amazing. Well, this fish is about the same size as the snake, so watching it actually attempt to devour it is going to be incredible. Snakes have the capability of opening their mouths up to 180 degrees to be able to swallow prey that's larger than them. A reptile live in action in a freshwater stream ecosystem. It doesn't get much better than this. Incredible. The other factor of stream ecosystems that's not as easily visible but plays just as critical of a role are the abiotic factors. These include non-living things such as the temperature of the environment, the pH of the water, water clarity, minerals and nutrients, and even precipitation levels. Abiotic factors are important because they serve as the glue that helps keep the entire ecosystem together. These abiotic factors help dictate the health of an ecosystem and keep the fragile circle of life in balance. One easy abiotic element in a stream that you can test on your own is the pH level. The pH of a stream can tell us the acidity of the water. Using a pH scale, you can dip into the water and analyze your results. The scale that I'm using has 9 different water quality tests in addition to the pH. Alright, I took 3 different samples from 3 different areas of the stream. Based on our water quality reading chart, we show fairly low levels of pH as well as moderate levels in all the other water quality areas, making for a pretty healthy ecosystem. Regardless of your findings, you should never drink water directly from a fresh water source. These scales can tell us the mineral levels of the water, but other elements such as bacteria and parasites can still exist, which can cause liver damage or digestive problems such as diarrhea. Ain't nobody got time for that. Abiotic conditions of a stream can be affected by a number of different elements, including global warming, climate change, or the introduction of invasive species. One minor change, such as higher regional temperatures, can in turn create higher algae blooms, which can have an impact on the nutrient levels, which in turn affect fish and other wildlife. So many factors come together in perfect harmony for an ecosystem like a stream to sustain itself. Whether it's the droppings of a rodent that provide nutrients for plants to grow, which in turn provide shade over the water, or mountain ice caps that send fresh water flowing in the spring, which in turn creates additional habitats for organisms to reproduce. Freshwater streams make for the perfect home. So next time you hear your favorite song or artist that makes you feel right at home, think of the ecosystems that are home sweet home to a number of different wildlife and fauna. I'm the Hip Hop MD. This is Hip Hop Science. Until we meet in another habitat, stay curious. Came back to check on our snake friend, and it's nowhere to be found. So, oh. Instead of going tail first, he ended up going head first. He's about halfway done with this fish, which is absolutely amazing. It can take snakes upwards of hours or even days to consume an entire meal, but we'll check that out on the next adventure. Imagine being the ultimate boss, living in a luxurious mansion high up in the Malibu hills. I'm talking ocean views, gorgeous sunsets, and beachfront access. A beach as your backyard. Just think of the incredible backyard science videos you could create. Okay, we can't all have a beachfront crib like Lil Wayne, Pharrell, or even Robert Downey Jr., but we can still explore one of the most beautiful and unique ecosystems that the ocean provides. An ecosystem that is home to incredible biodiversity, an ecosystem known as tide pools. With the moon being so far away, we don't often think of it as having an effect on our immediate environment. Tide pools, however, are unique because they're directly connected to the large rock orbiting high above. The moon exhibits a strong gravitational pull on the Earth as it orbits around us. As we rotate, this constant pull and release creates the phenomenon we know of as tides. High tides and low tides vary, with some changing a few feet or dramatically more. They occur twice a day and can differ depending on the phases of the moon and the time of the year. This constant back and forth of the tides helps shape the ecosystem we know of as tide pools by exposing habitats that are normally completely covered by water. By using a tide chart, we can determine at what time of the day the tide will be the lowest. The location where the ocean meets the land is known as the intertidal zone, and this zone is where we're able to observe a wide variety of organisms. Two common organisms you can find at tide pools are barnacles and mollusks, and although they may look pretty simple and lifeless, these organisms are very much alive and pretty complex. Barnacles are crustaceans, very similar to lobsters and crabs, whereas mussels are mollusks, more similar to oysters and clams. They're both filter feeders, with barnacles using specialized limbs to sift plankton through the water, and mussels sifting the same plankton through their shells. Since they both live in this intertidal zone where waves are crashing back and forth, they've each developed interesting methods of staying secure to the rocks. Barnacles secrete a cement-like glue substance that's one of the most powerful natural glues in the world. This keeps them firmly attached with an adhesive strength of 22 to 60 pounds per square inch. Mussels use a thread-like fiber that keeps them loosely attached to the rock, giving them the flexibility to drift and absorb nutrients in the water. Pretty advanced features for an organism that seems so basic. The high amount of nutrients from the constant movement back and forth of water in the intertidal zones means lots of available food for organisms, but the name of one in particular is not as sweet as it may seem. This sponge-like structure right here is a starburst anemone. Sea anemones are invertebrates and use a muscular tube-like trunk to move around and attach themselves to different surfaces. They're equipped with a ring of tentacles and a mouth at the center. These tentacles have stinging cells that they use to capture prey, and in the case of the starburst anemone, are also used to ward off other anemones in their territory. How dope is this? You guys remember from a previous backyard science video, we talked about mollusks, more specifically snails and slugs. Here, we have a giant sea slug. This guy is literally the size of my hand. So crazy. Another dope animal species that's easy to find in tide pools is one that we're all likely familiar with. Hermit crabs are unique because of their ability to inhabit the shells of other organisms, primarily that of snails. As they molt and increase in size, they're on a constant quest for a new and larger shell to call home. Their fifth and sixth pair of legs are incredibly small, and instead of being used for walking, are used to securely attach themselves to the inside walls of their shell. These shells are their source of protection and shelter, and are carried with them literally everywhere they go, giving a whole new meaning to clinging. There's also another type of crab that exists in these tide pools. Rock crabs are incredibly crucial to a tide pool ecosystem. They act as the garbage men of the environment, eating everything from plankton and algae to decaying plant matter. Climate change and global warming have dramatic effects on tide pool ecosystems. The acidification of ocean water from excess carbon dioxide in the air directly impacts organisms like coral reefs, clams, mussels, and snails by making it difficult to produce the calcium carbonate ions that make up their outer bodies and shells. Another direct reminder of just how fragile our environment truly is. Tide pools, however, can be a place of incredible wildlife discoveries. Their ability to change and shift due to the orbiting moon means that each low tide can reveal a whole new host of species. And with 70% of the Earth being covered by water, the likelihood of having a tide pool ecosystem in your own backyard is actually pretty high. I'm the Hip Hop MD. This is Hip Hop Science. Until we meet on our next adventure, stay curious.
I hope these videos encouraged all you young scientists out there to experiment and explore right in your own backyard, neighborhood park, or maybe even local beaches. Opportunities to find science are all around you every single day, and the fun continues at the NSU Alvin Sherman Library's StoryFest Build, Read, Play event, taking place Sunday, March 5th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Make sure to RSVP by March 5th for a chance to win a special prize at lib.nova.edu/storyfest. And as I always say, curiosity is nature's PhD. Never stop asking. Peace.